This is the Variety Show 2024. I want to do a video about the reptilian elite conspiracy, and which is a conspiracy that uh, reptilian shapeshifters are among us, and they're running a lot of the governments, the media, and a lot of other people on the planet are being run by this group. And actually, there was a movie that had come out in 1988, a very long time ago, called They Live. And it was with Roddy Piper. And Roddy Piper was a wrestler that became an actor. And he passed away since, because the movie was set in Los Angeles. It came out in 1988, a very long time ago. And they thought it was just a movie out of Hollywood, just like any other movie. But if you look on the internet, there's a lot saying that They Live, that film that came out in '88, is really a documentary. It was meant to be a documentary, but everyone thought it was just a movie. But it's really a documentary because it may be based on truth, and you have to see the movie to understand what they show in this film. But David Icke is the British researcher. He's published a lot of books. He's been around. Some people think he's crazy. He's nuts. He's a conspiracy theorist. David Icke. You don't really hear about him anymore. But he talks about, if you look at the Bible in the Old Testament, talks about, go back to the book of Genesis. In the Old Testament, talks about crossbreeding. It talks about Nephilim and giants and all of that the human race, this species, was messed with. And he talks about crossbreeding in the Bible, saying that there is this group, they're hybrids, which means there are these creatures in the governments and possibly in the media, possibly many famous and not famous people, that they are some kind of hybrids where they're not completely human, but they have something different. It's a DNA thing, and it's a DNA thing. There's something different in their DNA, and the funny thing is, everyone's looking for aliens and extraterrestrial life. They're all looking in the sky. They're all looking in outer space to try to find them, but they're here. They're not. They may be there too, but they're here. They're already here among us. I mean, just look at, for example, look at the British royal family with King Charles, Queen Elizabeth II, the one that passed away, Prince William, and all of that whole group, that whole cabal, the British royal family. Just take them for example. And do you really? I mean, they're wild. I mean, they're just wild. Buckingham Palace. I mean, do you really think that they're just human? I mean, do you really think they're just human, or there's something different about them? If you watch the film that came out in 1988 called They Live, that puts in perspective that it might be true, and then you rethink that, gee, you take the British royal family, they might not be human, and there's many other people in the governments that might not be human. The Pentagon, the Homeland Security, the FBI, the CIA, these summits, the G7, the G20, the Davos, all these summits with elites and stuff. I mean, and these shadowy figures that really run the planet. So you have to see that movie / documentary, They Live 1988, to really rethink the reptilian elite conspiracy. Would explain a lot. It would explain a lot. It would explain a lot because here's the thing. You take homelessness, you take some of these problems. Why do they never get solved? For instance, homelessness gets worse and worse. You look at all that problem. Just take homelessness. How come it never gets solved? It never gets solved because they want it that way. It's on purpose. These creatures, hybrids, reptilians, whatever you want to call them, they come like they have the solutions, but they don't have the solutions. They created the problems in the first place. But they're coming like they have the solutions, but they don't, because they created the problems in the first place. That's why these problems go on forever. That's why they never get solved. And they want to lock up people in prisons, mental institutions. They want to keep homelessness going. They want to keep crime getting worse and worse. They want to keep this decline. They got the national debt and the deficit blown way up. It's not sustainable. It can't even be fixed, probably not even by Trump. And so it really, I think, adds a lot of credibility that this movie, that this remarkable film that came out a long time ago in 1988, that everybody all forgot about. They just buried it under the dust. Check out They Live 1988, and it makes you think, would explain a lot. If they're among us, these creatures, maybe not full-blown aliens, but hybrids, if they're among us, that would explain a lot. Variety Show 2024.